pretty full on downpour over here right now.
Uh-huh. Okay. Wow.
All right, well, let's give it a shot and see how it goes.
Yeah, sure.
So, tell me a little bit about yourself. I've gone through and looked at your CV.
Yeah, sure. Basically, I'm working for Toyota Susho. It's a Japanese company that as a sister company of Toyota Motors Corporations in Japan. That it's been more than 5 years that they are developing a service department in suburb of Jakarta. And then it's been a year that I'm joining for MBA program in Jakarta. It's called IPMI, International Business School.
Right.
So within one of my facilitator is she's doing for CSR, and then joining the concept of sustainability of development for businesses in Indonesia, especially that requires of 17 goals for United Nations, including that poverty, poverty.
So tell me a little bit about how did you find out about Nihiwatu and the Sumba Foundation?
Who doesn't know who Nihiwatu actually though?
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's a valid point. I mean, I have worked with Nihiwatu for the last 3 years, and certainly when I came in, it was not something that was common knowledge at that time. And certainly, I think Sumba Island itself is still actually not so common knowledge. But Nihiwatu, with the recent award back in July, we certainly put the mark on the map.
Yeah. Sure do actually. I do understand that basically it's been for these 2 years that Sumba quite become more famous rather than Lombok actually, especially because of Nihiwatu itself. But I do understand because it's been more than 8 years that I'm working for property developers, not only for Japanese companies. So that basically my colleagues and also from GLL that I know Daniel Miller is from GLL Bali that he's telling on.
Yeah. You know Daniel Miller.
Yeah, basically just within these few weeks, basically I have a lot of friends in JLL Jakarta and my friends in JLL Jakarta telling about Daniel Millers, and then I've been contact him for several discussion for Lombok's areas and then Sumba's areas also.
Okay. All right.
Sure. So
I've known Dan for about 4 years now. So.
Oh yeah.
I see. Before taking my new role as general manager of the Sumba Foundation, I worked with Nihiwatu as the resort manager for 3 years. So I just finished up my role as resort manager back in the middle of November, and just on the 1st of December I started my new role as the general manager for the foundation.
I see. So only it's been a month, that you're floating on Sumba Foundation. So basically,
no, it's only been less than a week.
Less than a week. I see. I get it. So, but you know better in in Nihiwatu itself, yeah. I mean the businesses or the activities in Nihiwatu.
So essentially, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you're looking at with this piece? Is this an internship that you have to complete, or are you looking for a permanent role, or what is the intention of your contacting us and coming to work with with either the foundation or the resort?
Yeah, like I said before, basically that one of my facilitators doing the collecting the whole documentation that surrounding Indonesia, especially for kind of the companies that doing the sustainable development, including the 17.
I'm gonna turn off the video real quick because it's breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I don't mind. Thank you very much for that.
Okay. Go ahead again. Yeah,
So,
go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead and can you repeat that
So,
bit?
yeah, basically Miss Amelia is my facilitator. She's requiring all the students for collecting the whole not the whole information, but collecting the the companies that doing the sustainable development in Indonesia, especially that as they are that companies focus on not only doing the businesses as a business as usual, also that that companies should have to provide some kind of I'm not saying it's a CSR, but kind of doing the businesses to helping each other surrounding area, like the environment, also like providing the water supplies for the environment, and then no poverty, or like Nihiwatu did that.
Are you still there?
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, everything kind of froze for a minute and went quiet.
Okay. So basically like that we are looking for the companies there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, basically that we are looking for the companies that doing the businesses, not only business as usual, like that doing a business only for looking at profit, etc., but also that companies should have to have some kind of business conceptual for sustainable, for surrounding area, including the environment, like citizens surrounding over there. That for example that Nihiwatu already did that. It's been more than 10 years since you are starting this business. That
essentially, as part of Nihiwatu and the resort, Sumba is a very kind of undeveloped island, if you will. And oftentimes it's kind of referred to as a forgotten island. You've got a population of about 650,000 people that are here, and very little infrastructure and support that the Indonesian government has given the island in the past. So the whole idea between Nihiwatu's kind of presence as a resort really stems back to the basic founding principles that Claude and Petra Graves, who essentially set up the resort, and that was location, cultural, and being able to give something back to the community. So, right from the early stages in the hotel's humble beginnings, coming to a place like this, as remote as it is, and having very little support structure behind it, they quickly recognize two things. One, the importance of including the local community into the works, and that would ultimately kind of snowball effect into the general success of the hotel. But also, the other thing they realized was that the people here in the area and on the island actually, they don't have much, they need quite a bit of help. So, a lot of the focus has actually been in incorporating the local communities into the resort in some fashion or another. We have various community projects that we're doing that have stemmed out through some trial and error, some in ways with regards to works with the Sumba Foundation. I just started my new role as the general manager, as I mentioned, for the foundation. And, a lot of what we do between the foundation and Nihiwatu, they actually run sort of parallel tracks, albeit they're two very separate entities and businesses. But the hotel side, what we've done over the last decade is really kind of focused on bringing in various community projects. We have, for example, being as remote as we are, very little access. We can't run out to a Carrefour or a Giant or a local grocery market. So we actually, 3 times a week, we have the local Sudanese farmers who are doing their local agriculture come into the resort and actually sell us the vegetables and the produce that they're growing there at their own homes and on their parcels of land. And we will actually take those items before going into town and then sourcing out from the local community there. So we try to focus on keeping things as close in the community as possible. We have our turtle hatchery program as well, which is part of the community projects. We actually, not only is it an environmental thing, sustainability on the side of the ecological impact of most of the turtle species are endangered or near endangered. So what we do is we actually, when the local villagers find these eggs on the beach, they actually bring them to us. We pay above market price, market being what they would be able to sell those eggs in town for, as food. And we take them, we log in the number of eggs that are brought in, we record that in our logbook, we put them in our hatchery, and then we record the number of eggs that actually hatch. And then as part of a nice little piece, of course, for our guest experience as well, they actually then are able to participate in the activity of actually releasing the turtles later on. So, that's another piece. We are also the largest employer here on the island. We have about 300 local staff that we employ, most of which are from about a 20-kilometer radius around the resort.
20 kilometers from the resort.
Only, yeah. So for a resort that's only about 28 villas and 33 bedrooms, that's a considerable number of individuals. Many of which speak very little English. Some which speak very good English, but majority would speak probably middle to low level of English. Our daily workers that we hire on a rotating basis, we have anywhere from 20 to 50 on any given day that we employ. They're low education or no education individuals who walk in from their local villages and areas, and actually will go ahead and they will do labor works for us around the resort, be it if it's helping to build various projects, compile along for the roofing that we do. All of the roofs that we have around the resort and the guest rooms are all actually local alang that we buy from the communities as well.
Wow.
So we try to get whatever resources that we can locally here, and then use those laborers as well to help to facilitate the actual construction side of things. So that's one of those pieces. But yeah, we have a range of talented, skilled individuals here, as well as some low-level labor skilled individuals as well. We offer English class complimentary for all of our staff that are here, 6 days a week. It's either 2 or 3 times a day now. That's taught by our in-house HR coordinator and training assistant. So we're providing additional education as well to the staff free of charge as part of benefits and of course HR training and development. We actually
so even you have HR training development for the local communities, yeah?
For the local community, we actually, that's more on the side of the Sumba Foundation. What we do more on our socialization of various programs and responsibilities, social responsibilities, economical responsibilities, and responsibilities within the villages themselves, and accountability as well. We can touch base on that later. Then we've got, at the resort, we also do quite a bit of recycling programs here. It's very difficult to recycle, unfortunately, our plastic bottles. We're separating all the items out. For all of our glass bottles, we recycle all that stuff back into town. For all of our waste food produce, that actually goes back into the organic compost that we have. We have, we've got 3 organic gardens here on property. So we actually recycle all of the waste food back into our composting, and then that composting goes back into the organic gardens, as well as gets used for fertilizing all the flower beds and the gardens around the resort as well. So helping to reduce the footprint on that. We're not shipping out our food wastage out to the local rubbish facilities, things like that. We also have a gray water system that is currently in place for the rooms. So after guests are showering and things like that, using water in the sinks, that water then gets pumped back up and sent through some treatment processes, some filtration devices, and goes into our gray water reservoir, which we can then use for alternative watering processes, gardens, etc. Things like that. It's not potable water, so it's not used for anything with regards related to guest actions. But it's a nice way, especially when we're not in the raining season. When we're in the dry season, we don't have a drop of rain for 5 months. It's a nice little reservoir to have to be able to use that for the gardens, as opposed to trucking in water from various parts of the island. We also have a reverse osmosis plant here. It's just about ready to be launched. So as opposed to, again, trucking in water, we'll actually be making our own potable water as well, which will allow us to actually move away from the plastic water bottles that we've been using, the aquas and things like that. And ultimately, we'll be looking at, once the plant is up and running, we'll be looking at a bottling plant as well, either for 2017 or 2018 as our goal, so that we can actually start bottling our own water here for our guests. We also have at the resort a chocolate factory, believe it or not. Where we make our own organic chocolate. So we planted about 3,000 cacao trees here at the resort, and all the profits and the proceeds from those from the chocolate that we make here actually goes as a donation to the Sumba Foundation. So kind of the whole resort's practice is really one in philanthropy. Its goal is to be profitable as a business and to be self-sustaining. Ultimately, the resort's profits. Once the Nihiwatu has made a little money, I know it's kind of funny coming from best hotel in the world, but once we've actually made a little money on things, it's actually to send that money back into the Sumba Foundation as well. So, we're looking at about every year about $150,000 US being repatriated back into the Sumba Foundation directly from Nihiwatu.
Wow. So basically,
to get all that.
So basically, your business is you make your own government, right? In Sumba, isn't it?
Yeah, we've had to do a lot. We've had to do a lot, to say the least. But it speaks volumes for itself, because really the impact of the resort isn't just on the 300 and, like I said, we've got 300 Sumbanese staff that are here, but that 300 staff actually then spreads out to about 5,000 people. And then in contribution or in conjunction with the Sumba Foundation, the Sumba Foundation, we reach out and help about 23,000 people in the area.
Wow!
And, it's a small fraction of the population here on Sumba. I mean, you're looking at, maybe about 5%, 30,000 people out of, let's say, 650,000 people. It's still quite a small number of individuals, but, for one little organization working on the edge of wildness, it's, we've made quite an impact on a number of lives. And really, you can see it from everything else that's going on, and the increased commerce going on around the island as well. Nihiwatu and the Sumba Foundation, the impact isn't just on that 30,000 people, but really it's actually on the whole island. Up in Tambalaka, they built a brand new airport. When I first came 4 years ago, and I'm sure that there are other individuals that can speak from their own history's past, that the airport only functioned as and when it needed. The resort used to charter a flight every Thursday, and that was on, guests would arrive on a Thursday and depart on a Thursday. And about a year after I came, we actually ceased that as the commercial flights to and from the island started to become a daily routine. And I think that's largely in part from the contributions of the resort and kind of the increased interest and prosperity that's coming into it. You've got staff now that can afford to send their children out on for higher education. I've got Dato here who has family who's studying over in various universities, and one of his sons is actually in Kupang right now, just finishing his nursing. Just graduated from nursing. Your son, your brother. Nah. So his brother just graduated from nursing. Yeah.
Congratulations for him.
This is Dato. You can say hi, Dato. Dato is one of our oldest employees at Nihiwatu. He's been working. Been working here since he was 14. 27 years. Yeah. So when he was about 14 years old, he was working. He was working here at the resort, and he's one of a kind.
Wow! What a great job!
Yeah, I mean, it's the impact has been considerable to say the least, and the way that the whole thing kind of webs out across is is quite impressive. And when you look at a small little operation, but what an impact it can make.
How long actually it takes? It's been more than 20 years then.
Yeah, no, like I said, Claude and Petra came in 1988 to Nihiwatu, to Sumba, and started working. So started working on things. So Dato is, like I said, he was 14, and
oh my God,
he's been doing work since. Yeah.
Wow. It cannot calculate it on accounting though, right?
Yeah. And all of this really, you've got, when you look at it and you talk about the business benefits, I mean, I think they speak for themselves. Certainly from the hotel's perspective, the magic and the intangible items that a place like this brings, and a setup and being so tightly knit with the community and having that sort of community presence. In hospitality, it's not something that you can enforce or that you can fake. It comes genuinely from the staff and the people that are around, and their willingness to just go out and do the things that make them happy. So from a business benefit side, I mean, it speaks for itself. It's all experiential for the guests. It's not something that you can just copy and paste and put it somewhere else. It's something that really has such an intangible feeling to it that when we look at our guests, I mean, more than 50% of our guests that come and visit each year to the resort are repeat guests, and many of our first-time guests end up becoming return guests as well. So I mean, the business benefits speak for themselves. As travel and the hospitality industry changes, this sort of more conscientious and environmentally conscious, logically conscious, social conscious people, travel. They're not looking for, being just in beautiful, amazing accommodations, destinations, but they're also looking for experiences, things that last and are tangible that they can take, even if the creation of it is intangible. So yeah, it definitely speaks for itself on the business benefits side of things.
I see.
Yeah. So that's just about the hotel. Then the foundation itself, we've got. So as I said, we work in tandem. So you have Nihiwatu on one side, and you have the foundation on the other. The foundation was co-founded by Claude Graves, who's the original owner and founder of Nihiwatu, and his friend Sean Downs. The foundation has been running for about 16 years now, and this really kind of steps into the socially conscious side of what operating in a remote area and a destination in a place like this kind of brings. So there's very little kind of basic infrastructure here. So some of the major programs that we do with the foundation is our malnutrition program, our water project program. So we've got deep water wells which then seed out to various water stations providing potable water for 23,000 people. We have our malaria clinics, which are set up. We've got 4 malaria clinics, which are set up in a 20-kilometer radius around the resort.
Okay.
And various other. We have a malaria training center in Waikaluba, which is the nearest town to us. It's about 45 minutes away. And essentially, in the foundation, all of our nurses are World Health Organization certified nurses.
Wow.
Trained up to their standards and practices. All of our nurses that work in the malaria clinics are certified malaria-trained nurses. They've taken the course at the training center and passed. So essentially, we provide on the malaria side, various aspects of it, between pre-diagnosis as well as treatment for those that test positive. We're able to actually diagnose whether a member of the community has malaria within about 20 minutes after taking their blood, as well as treat it with the appropriate medication. Then we've got, of course, we offer various other illnesses and remedy relief as well for those that come in who are sick. Clinics who don't necessarily have malaria, and this is all free of charge stuff. So a lot of our support for these programs are actually via donations from the guests who stay at Nihiwatu. So we offer guests the opportunity to actually go out and see our various programs. They can come up to the clinics and they can look under the microscope and they can see a slide of what a negative malaria blood test looks like. They can actually see the malaria test being done. They can see what a positive slide looks like in the comparison and how easy it is to diagnose something that so many people are afraid of. And really, it just makes such a huge difference when people, even those of us from the Western culture, who are more taboo about malaria, to see how easy it can be diagnosed and treated at the same time. Do malaria prevention as well, providing mosquito nets out to the local communities and villages. Prevention is the first step to eradication. So, this is where the social education side of what it means to actually be under their mosquito nets at night, providing them the means. Many people otherwise wouldn't be able to afford a mosquito net, nor would they have the means to actually, or the access to get one. For the malnutrition programs, for example, we have a school lunch program that we do. Guests from the hotel can actually come and volunteer and help us to serve the lunch to the children. We do right now 5 schools. They each receive. We do 5 schools 6 days a week for 2 to 3 meals a week per school. And they are essentially being provided a nutritious, balanced school lunch.
Is that
malnourishment?
The 5 schools is owned by Nihiwatu or government?
I'm sorry?
The schools that 5 schools that you provide for lunch or something like that owned by Nihiwatu or owned by the government?
They're actually government schools. The Sumba Foundation has helped to build the schools and to set up potable water and things like that running to them. But they're very much under the government schooling program.
I see.
So they follow the same curriculum that any other primary school would. The focus is on the primary schools, not the high schools.
Okay.
As the young children are the ones that kind of need the most attention. They're the ones that are the most malnourished. They can't learn if they are not eating properly. So, we spend the time with them. It's also a great opportunity to instill some, the proper eating habits and what it means to actually have a balanced, nutritious meal and diet.
Agree with that.
And it gives us also the opportunity to monitor progress and see how they're doing.
Yeah. Wow. So basically,
in January,
please.
In January, we're actually going to be ramping up the progress or the program from 5 schools to 10 schools, with the ultimate goal to be school lunch for all 10 schools 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. So we'll be launching that in January in just a few weeks. Yeah.
How could I say it? Basically, this is my first time that, what do you call it? This is not a business. I think you are 100% embedded, between the businesses and the environment, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's an incredible place. It's an incredible place. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't have been here for the last 3 years if I didn't feel, very strongly about everything that was going on both the resort side and the foundation side. So, I've had the opportunity to work with one and create something really magical that we now get to share with the world. And, like to do the same with the foundation as well and take the opportunity to, really elevate things to the next level on that side. We do these... we do these water programs, the water projects, the deep wells, and then the satellite water stations to help to provide that potable water. People used to have to walk, 20 kilometers just to get water, and and those that were living up in the mountains or in the up on the hills, women and children were spending their whole days just going back to just get one bucket of water. They weren't doing any weaving or any of their local crafts or artisans. The children weren't going to school, so they weren't learning. So everything was becoming very stagnant, and certain aspects of the culture even were being lost. How important being Indonesian and in Indonesia, how important the textile process is to many of the islands and the cultures, and Sumba is no different. And when that aspect starts to leave the village and starts to leave the minds of the women, and they begin to forget, everything is passed down from mother to daughter, and you start to lose aspects of the culture as well. So by providing these water stations and actually giving the opportunity for people to go out and do the things that they're supposed to be doing, children going to school, women weaving or teaching in the villages themselves, and passing on that aspect of things. It's, that's quite important as well. So you look at the preservation of the cultural side, and keeping respects with what is going on it.
Wow. But anyway, this is not my. About the cash flow. Of course, that kind of things is about the cash flows of your Nihiwatu stuff. Is it still minus every year, or that basically?
No, actually, last year we turned our first profit, and then this year we spent the time working out the budget, and actually ended up getting to raise it a couple times throughout the year, because we were we were doing quite well.
Wow.
This year again, we're looking at being more profitable as well, and we'll have the final figures as of the probably by mid-January to see exactly where we landed with everything. But yes, no, the last year and this year, Nihiwatu's both turned a profit. So
wow.
say that we've done what we've thank you. We've done what we've set out to do, and now really the drive is to continue to push that forward to make sure that not only do we achieve the same, but that we actually continue to grow and we're able to do more.
Wow.
As a business, it's very important that Nihiwatu be self-sufficient. Certainly, we have a wonderful owner by the name of Chris Birch, who has given his unrestricted and undivided support to making the hotel a success.